Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk, and today I'm coming to you with a portrait version of the Bendi card, and this opens up like so it folds flat for you to post, but then obviously it makes a lovely display card. And I'm using the fabulous new Hearts Come Home stamp set for the sentiment and the Santa, but also it comes with dies, which is what I've used to create the effect. Now, those of you with a standard big shot, I mean, I've made this one using my Bendi fold card tutorial that I did, where you basically it's the same as my one with the flowers, but instead you use the die cutting machine. But obviously that's no good if you've got a standard big shot machine, because that is just that bit big to actually fit through. So what I've done is I've created a version that comes in 3 parts so that you can create it using your standard big shot. So that's what we're going to do today. So that's the finished card, so hopefully it should look something like that. And unusually I haven't cut the card in advance because I want to show you how to cut it and get it out of a sheet of A4 cardstock. Okay, so you're going to need your trimmer. If I just zoom out very slightly there, you can see that. And you're going to cut, I've done this in inches, I will do the dimensions in centimetres. They are very straightforward on this one. So the first cut you're going to make is at 6 inches. So, no, I tell a lie, it's actually at 5 inches, and there we go. Fortunately, our cardstock is long enough that I can do it. So 5 inches on the length, like so. Then you turn and cut at 6 inches. And you score that piece on the 5-inch side at ½ an inch on both sides. Like so, put that to one side. Take your second piece, and you want a piece that's 5 by 4 inches and a piece that's 4 by 4 inches. So if we do the 4 inches first, and then trim that down to 5, then this piece is going to trim to 4 inches by 4 inches. Now move your trimmer out of the way, and you will have 3 pieces of cardstock. And you'll see this one's going to be your middle one, this one is going to be your front one, once we've done the die cutting. So the next thing is very straightforward, is to do the die cuts. So we're using the smallest one on the top, and the only thing I found with this is just be careful to keep it lined up. It will jump occasionally if you're using it on the magnetic plate. So what I do is put a piece of tape at the top, so you can then run that through your die cutting machine. The next piece that you use on the middle one is this one here. So again, just use the side edges here to line that up, and pop yourself a little piece of tape on the top section. That way I've de-sticked that by just adding it to my fingers, but if it does tear at all, it doesn't matter because it's not going to affect your card. And then the final piece, obviously with that big church on there, again do exactly the same, like so. And then all you need to do is just run those through your die cutting machine, whatever size you've got, and you will then have 3 pieces of card which have got die cuts on them. Obviously I'm die cutting off camera because I've got a big shot, but if you've got a big shot, I don't think you need to see me run mine through. At least I hope. If you do, you'll have to let me know. And the final one, I have to say I have got one I prepared earlier just at the side, just in case. So you will end up with 3 pieces of card like this. So remove your die cut, and you're simply going to start by trimming on either side. Now you will want to trim that down a little bit more shortly, but this is just our start off with. And obviously just pop your, either use your pokey tool, or if you've got the detailed die brush, to remove those. I can't see my sponge at the moment, but just literally, if you run those through, you will find those will pop out very easily. And as I say, they'll pop out with a pokey tool, with a quick flick. I say I've found my brush, but I can't see my mat to get rid of those. So, but that's, as you can see, so you've got 3 pieces of card now, which are going to create our scene. And with the dies, put them back on the magnetic sheet. I know to my cost, but otherwise you end up looking for them a lot later. Okay, so having done that, what I then did very, very simply was, with the trees, I just went over with my Stampin' Right marker and coloured those trees in. Now, if you wanted to, you could you could obviously shade the houses if you wanted as well. You could add additional stamping, but I just like the stuff, just a little pop of green on those trees to create our scene. And with those, the only thing I would say is it's worth picking them up and just going down the outside edge of those, just to kind of cover up little bits of white. And obviously if you wanted to, you could add a bit of glitter to those, or anything else. So we've now got 3 pieces of card. That's our centre part, that's our piece to come in from the left, and our piece to come in from the right. So what we now want to do is create these flaps here, and those are very simple to create. You just take your piece of card and literally with a ruler, I've just come in and marked where that flap goes. Now you'll need to cut in on this one slightly. You could position it as I did here, which is actually what I did, was I cut away that house. I just remembered. Yeah, so literally cut away that house there, like so, and then come in and you're just coming down. It's about 1/4 of an inch, and you're then making a slot. Now again, the slot doesn't have to be precise, and this is where you don't always have to measure things really carefully. I use my grid paper, and I'm just going to come in and cut down to about halfway to leave approximately a 1 inch slot. So literally I just come in and then I can trim that away, like so. Okay, so that then creates our left hand panel. So we're going to do the same to create our right hand panel. And I did a better job, I positioned it correctly on this one. So literally, and this is where I find it easier, line it up. I use my grid paper for this. Just come up slightly, come down slightly, and then snip away with those slots, like so. And now that you've done that, we can actually start cutting our slots in the back piece of card. So just line this up like so, and you're going to create a slot around about 1 inch in from that score. So if you fold your score in, line this up, and again, it doesn't have to be precise, just make sure it's nice and square. And I literally just put my pokey tool, it's better if you do it on a piece of foam, one of the insert, those of you who've got the blocks. There we go. So I do that on that one, like so, and then I do the same on this one, and this is coming. I've actually done that a little bit far in. Actually, I normally do that. This is the one that's an inch in. Okay, right. So this one's about an inch in. But to be honest, let's go with it and see how it works. That one is usually about. There we go. Just means you'll get a lot more of a bend. So I'm going to move this one across slightly for the purposes of, so about 3/4 of an inch. And then literally using your ruler and your, and I use one with a grid on because that just makes life easier. You just cut a little channel in the back there, like so, and just cut across and across. And sometimes it helps just to get your scissors in there, or your blade. Hopefully you're not seeing my face. This is my dreadful sight. In fact, it feels like I actually need a new blade on that. So I'll just trim that. So yes, a nice sharp blade, and you will get a nice, neat cut. Which I haven't, but there we go. Do the same on this one. So again, just come in, line that up, and just do a couple of cuts, literally almost like sort of, you know, just a 1/16 or a couple of millimetres. There you go, that's better. Just come in from the back, like so. There we go. There's our next piece that's going to go on the front. And then to do the stamping on this, and you won't be surprised, all we're going to do is use our markers to come in and create that two-tone effect by colouring in the words with our markers. So we've got the nice green, give it a good huff, and then pop that on like so. Our centre is easier because obviously it's just a straightforward black outline. Pop our centre like so. And then all that remains to do is to construct our card. So I've done my usual, where we've scored it we fold it away before folding it back in on itself, and this is where your bone folder comes in really handy, just to reinforce those creases. I'm going to use my fuse, and what I'm going to do is actually apply it to the card, the panel, rather than the flap. And the reason for that is obviously because it's not going to come all the way up, and this is where you need to trim it. So having attached it, just come down with your snips and trim away. Like so. Then do exactly the same on this one. So we're going to put fuse, again fuse because it needs a strong hold because it's a moving card. Line that up nicely without sticking it down, like so. Again, just come in from the reverse and snip away. And apart from that, that's a really messy cut I made on that. Just try and tidy that up just a touch. I shall come in with some scissors and tidy that up, and then all you do is, in order to display it, this bends and slots into here, this one bends and slots into here, and there you have your card. And obviously, depending on how you put those, you can get quite a different effect in terms of the bend. But as you can see, this one is easily made, and it means you could adjust your card to whatever size you wanted that fits in with your Big Shot or whatever machine you happen to be using. I hope you've enjoyed that. Lots of fumbling around, I'm really sorry, but I hope you've enjoyed that project and that you have a lovely Christmas. Bye now. Oh, before I go, of course, as usual, if you want any of the items, don't hesitate to go to my shop or to contact me at www.heidismith.stampinup.net. Bye for now.